Hey,
Hey, I think we're here.
are we here?
Wow, look at all this.
See, if anybody's waited for us at this point, you guys are amazing because it's already been like 2 hours past the normal starting time.
Yes,
But
yes.
this is when we usually close the show down.
I know. I know. Welcome. It's a special holiday edition of Don't Muddle Monday. It's Memorial Day here in the United States. I know at least a handful of you guys are here with us in the States celebrating this holiday.
Hmm.
It's weird holiday though this year because it's all like quarantine holiday. So it's like
Yeah, so the traffic is different.
it is. It's
There's not
weird.
as much.
Hmm. Yep. So, but at any rate, yep. So today ended up being this tardiness is completely my fault. It turned into a big long family day. So,
Huh.
yep. But we're
That's
here.
that's good too though. It's
Hmm.
good to spend some time with family. And we do this like every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it's good. It's all right if you want to take some hours to do that.
Yeah. Yep. So that's the one thing. I mean, hey, I got to be a dad. So, at any
Yeah.
rate, we had a great day. I was so proud of my 8-year-old today. I just have to say, because we were like, okay, we set a goal. He's doing a report on the diary of Anne Frank for the end of the school year, right? And
I
he had
think I
like,
did a report on that as well
yeah, I'm sure there are
once.
many, many reports on the diary of Anne Frank out there,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, at any rate, it's due this week because this is the last week of school, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
he had like 50 pages of the book left to read today.
Wow.
And we were all excited. We're like, man, it's a day off, it's a holiday, but we can't go anywhere. So we're gonna play some Minecraft. And I'm like, we ain't playing any Minecraft until that book's done. So that lit a fire up under his rear, and yeah,
I'm glad that he took that fire and ran with it
he
because
got it done.
otherwise you just set yourself on fire and you do nothing all day. It stinks.
Yep. So anyway, so yeah, so welcome. It's Don't Muddle Monday, and
Welcome.
we're here, and yeah, this is a show where we handle any of your challenges, issues, stuff you might be going through. What? What was that?
That's just a random
We
noise I make sometimes.
we also hear sound effects from Ryan. That's what we do. We are not professional therapists or psychoanalysts. We might be psychotic a bit.
So
Ryan's a professional noise maker.
yeah.
And
I typed in it says Ryan Seawald, and that's why I was like, ah, oh, geez. Okay. Which is fine, but I was like,
why?
ah, now I gotta go change it.
You gotta go change it to Sweet Lad.
Yeah, Ryan Seawald. That's right. Because that's my name.
There we go. Create a redstone mechanism that prints out Anne Frank books and creates portals to distribute them to the enemy. Wow, that's some advanced Minecrafting. I am not nearly that advanced in the in the Minecrafting game.
Yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, some people know all the like building electronic side of the yeah, I
uh
don't know anything.
that's nuts. It's amazing to see all that stuff. But yeah, but anyway, so we're not professional therapists, but we do want to be your friend in any way we can. We want to help. We want to offer some love and encouragement and
Yeah. Hmm.
perspective if we can, and just help you understand this is something you can get through. Whatever it is, it's going to pass. The world continues to go around, and your life will continue. And it can be a brighter day, because Ryan and I, the only thing that qualifies us to do this is that we've had plenty of challenges in our lives. And because we thought about that. We're like, why? What makes us qualified to do this? you know?
Yeah, I remember when Joe asked me that, and I'm like, ah, that's a good question. I guess it's all about where the heart is. And then
Mhm.
his answer was, well, because I failed a bunch, so that's how I know. Like, and I was like, ah, that's actually pretty good.
I know what that's like to feel like a complete failure a lot. In fact, I was talking on Discord with somebody and I was like, yeah, half the time I feel like I'm, falling flat on my face. But you know what? I'm trying.
Hmm.
So that's what matters. And, we're so proud of you guys for being here. We're so happy to have you guys with us. And we love being with you. So that's why we want to do this show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jesse's our producer. Princess is here, our chat room hostess, and she's keeping us on track and she's keeping us all organized and wonderful. And I'm Joe, and with me is Ryan, the Static P Sweelad. How are you doing, Ryan?
Ryan, the steady piece. So it's interesting because that is a thing like where you throw the person's like online name or game name or whatever. What do you call that? Stage name. Their stage name or whatever in the middle of their actual name.
I was about to say handle, but that's like a trucker term.
Oh, yeah. Well, handle works too, yeah. But yeah, it is interesting. Ryan, I've never actually been called that before though. Ryan the static, or you just do the P. I like the
Ryan
P.
the P. Ryan the P Sweelad.
Yeah, Ryan the P, sweet lad. I like it. Anything you can do to make me sound a little bit more like a pirate.
Arr.
R be making me more attractive.
Yarr.
Because aren't anything more attractive than a pirate.
Yeah. That's right.
Then a good cup of ale. Whatever. So yeah. Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for coming to the show. Obviously, we're really late here. So but we appreciate you guys showing up. Seems like there's, I don't see Akil in here, even though this was Akil's day. We've got a couple from him. Little Miss said this might be their last time coming for a long while, which saddens me. I wonder what's going on there. But yeah, looks like they've got one that they're dishing out right now, maybe.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, it looks like there's no. Hey, totally understandable, Little Miss, and I'm sorry that it had to come about in such a way.
Yep.
But feel free. I mean, if it's okay for you to lurk, we'd be happy to have you. But hey, we love hanging out with you, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah.
She says, no, this isn't a topic.
Yeah. It's fair. It's fair. But at least we got the answer. Thank you so much, Little Miss Fancy. You know that we love you here. We cherish you. You're amazing. And we hope to see you whenever you do come back. We'll be doing this for a long time. So I'm sure it'll still be around in a year. So
we got a pretty good track record. We've been doing this for what, 2 years now? 3, 2.5, something.
Yeah. Technically this has been a thing for what, so how long have you and I been doing it?
You and I started in
3,
like 2 years ago, almost exactly, I think.
Okay. And then before that, it'd already been 5 years. So that means Don't Worry Wednesday has effectively been a thing, though not necessarily consistent or with the same people or whatever. Format and everything's been changed, but the concept stayed the same, and it's been around for 7 years. So that's pretty incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've lovingly had the torch handed to us.
Yes. Right.
And we are running with it for now, and we hope to run with it for quite some time. It's a great thing. I love doing this show. I don't know about you, Ryan, but
yeah, absolutely. This is like, I used to say it was the highlight of my week, but now there's 3 of them a week. So there's a lot of highlights.
Yeah.
But it's awesome.
Yep, it's great. So at any rate, Little Miss, exactly what Ryan said. We love you, and hope everything is well, and that you're able to come back soon. So anyway,
yeah, we understand the situation, and I think you're doing the right thing. So you know that we love you, and you're amazing.
Yep. So it looks like Amira has something going on. Amira, if you want to post in the chat, we'd be happy to talk about it. In the meantime, I do want to go through the list and see if any of these folks are here with us. We've got Sumner Kagan, John Doe, Man Left Behind, Eric Bodine, Caffrey, Mark Anthony, Akil, and that's it. So,
and then Akil and Akil.
Akil and Akil and Akil and Akil. Yes.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen any of you so far in the chat. So if you heard your name, feel free to give a what's up with your mom and dad in the chat. We're not doing that one anymore, though. Anymore.
We can do yo, what's up with your mom and dad in chat.
We could do, yeah.
I just butchered it, but it's fine.
Yeah. So, okay. So Amira looks like Amira's sharing with the topic here. So we'll let that populate a little bit. But anyway, Ryan, have you did you catch this morning's show? The Double Cup of Joe show this morning?
You know, I actually went to bed at 5:30 a.m. So I just missed it. What happened this morning? How'd it go?
Gotcha. Oh, it's great. We're talking about fear this week.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Okay. So we were like, hey, this is such a great day to talk about fear. It's Memorial Day, right?
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Like, fair. That ties in.
Who are we honoring today? We're honoring our fallen soldiers, right? And these are men and women who face their fears and faced them to the point of giving their lives for our country. And I was like, yeah, wow, like that's a big deal, because like I heard on some movie somewhere, they're like, it's all right to be scared. There is no courage without fear. And I was like, you know, that's so true. There's no, like, they go hand in hand. Courage and fear go hand in hand. So if you're not afraid, then there's not much opportunity to have courage. You know, if you're feeling fear, that's a great opportunity to exhibit the courage you have inside.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of amazing. Sometimes we can look back at the past and be like, wow, these people are so brave. Like, you kind of feel like, I guess they just didn't have time for fear, right? I mean, they were trained to be warriors. They were trained for this kind of stuff, or some of them weren't. And they were just kind of like, yeah, you're in the army now. But they were very brave, all of them, to put forth their lives for the people, right? And you just look at that and you're like, and yet here I am, I'm afraid to like make a phone call. I'm afraid to do something like this, right?
Right.
But, you know, the reality is when we're given something meaningful, the more meaningful it is, the more courage we can take. I think that if you look back in the past, no matter how far you look back, you're going to find the majority of the population is fearful. They're actually, like, a lot of times they're not doing what's right. They're doing wrong things because they're afraid to act out, or they're afraid to do the right thing, right? Yeah. And it's like generally a majority of the population. And then it only takes a couple of individuals who have like courage to just change everything, you know, or to put that burning fire under a bunch of other people to change everything. But it's pretty phenomenal the way that humanity hasn't changed, right? And how we're all still capable, no matter who you are as in life, no matter what lot you were given, every single human being is capable of courage, capable of overcoming fears. So it's really cool.
Yeah, it is a very interesting thing, because at least in the case of the people that we honor on Memorial Day, there was danger involved in their fears.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Most of the fears I experience, there's no danger.
Right.
Like you just said, making a phone call or sending an email. Like I seriously, when I was making first contact with the printer of the book, Print Ninja, that's who we're sending the book off to be printed from. And when I was sitting there getting ready to make first contact with them, and it was just sending him an email, I was scared.
Yeah.
I was honestly afraid. It was just typing up an email and sending it, asking a question, you know? And I'm like, I had to like psych myself up, because I'm like, I was scared to do it. And the only reason is because it's different. And I'd never done that before. I'd never contacted anybody like that before. You know?
Yeah. So and you feel like you've got a lot on the line. You're worried that you're going to do it wrong. The book's going to come out wrong or whatever. Right.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so what I discovered there was, like, you know, we talked about this morning. It was great, because we talked about, if you're afraid of something, you just think, okay, what's the danger? First of all, like, okay, let's just kind of logically step through this. What's the danger here? Now, in some cases, there's a real danger. There's a real threat of your life, even, you know. But most of the time, the things, like, for me anyway, the things I'm scared of, there's no real danger. It's like somebody
Sure.
might say no to me. Somebody might not answer me in time, somebody
Right.
like whatever. But, you know, so what happens is now I understand when I feel that fear, it's actually pointing me exactly in the direction of what I need to do next.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. I can relate to that. There's so many times in life where I'm pitted into a position where it's just like, man, I don't want to do that. And then I'm like, wait, did I just say I don't want to do it? Doesn't that mean I have to do it? Because now I know what the right thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, yep. All right, gotta go do it. Like there's so many times in my life where the main reason I do something is because I realize that I don't want to do it.
Mm.
And I don't want to have that attitude, right? I don't want to put that attitude as a habit into me. Like, I don't want to do it. That's the wrong attitude. Let's go do it now, you know? Um, and just having that sort of mentality about it really helps a lot. To get over those fears, I think one of it is weird, but it's kind of like perhaps it's not necessarily the most humble or necessarily the right way to go about life, but a lot of times when I think about myself, I'm like, well, I don't want to be the guy that doesn't do this. I don't want to be known as the guy that, let his fears come to him, right? I
Mm-hmm.
want to be better than that. I want to be someone with high dignity. I want to be someone that's honorable, right? And I want to honor God, and I want to show God that I can do it, right? But um, so sometimes, yeah, you just have to build yourself up, right? You have to psych yourself up and be like, I don't want, I don't want to do it. So let's just do it. That's the
Mm-hmm.
right thing. Usually when, when it seems difficult and I start to shy away, I'm like, well, now I know what the right choice is.
Exactly.
That sucks.
Yep. Yep. I'm sorry. It's not going to be easy, but that's the thing you got to do next. It's like,
So many
oh,
times our
no.
conscience comes to understand what the right choice is before we come to accept it logically. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're like still debating it. We're like, well, on this hand I could do this, and on this hand you're like, oh man, but on this hand it's like, I know that's wrong, dang it. That sounds so good though.
Yeah.
but
How can I
I
how can I make an
can weave my
excuse?
way through this and make this idea look better, right? And it's like, no matter how good you make this idea look, just overcoming that fear, overcoming that initial, just do it, and you're gonna be better off.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's pretty cool. And then you start to understand the bodily reaction to fear is the same as the bodily reaction to excitement.
Mm-hmm.
It
Which
really
is
is.
really
So it's
neat.
really, yeah.
And I'd
It's your
never thought of
body
that until
like,
you said so.
yeah, but it's like your body psyching yourself up to do something, like it's just like, hey, you're just preparing yourself. It's like, this is a big deal. Like, this is a big step. You realize this is a decision that's going to have some gravity in your life. It's like when I sat there, I think that was really the main thing with the whole sending an email to the printer was because I
Right.
understood the magnitude of this project. I understood how long we've been working on it. I understood for
Forever.
one thing, exactly. That was the first thing. For two, I understood, like as it was coming together, how meaningful it could be for people's lives, as we were putting this book together. And so when I just was overcome by the gravity of how big this could be, right?
Sure.
And so I was like, wow. So now the next step is sending this email. And I was like, I felt afraid, but I had to understand, no, actually what I'm feeling is excitement because this is like, we're getting close to the end and this is going to actually happen. This is like becoming real, it's just one more step to becoming real.
Yeah.
And so there, all that excitement that came in. Amira, I did have to say, I saw that you started a topic here in the chat. We do remember the girl you talked about. But and so we see that you started talking to her again. Oh, here we go. All right. She says, you see, I found out she's seeing someone else. Okay. I've been pretending to be okay with her, but in reality it's tearing me apart and constantly feel like I'm going to puke up blood.
Yeah. I can relate to
Yeah.
that. Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
That's painful. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you, Amir. I know how hard that can be to experience someone that you care deeply for, getting into a relationship with someone else, and then just all the whirlwind that comes along with that. Wow. So I'm really sorry to hear you're going through that. Ryan, did you have you? It sounds like you've got some
Yeah, I
experience
mean,
here in
I
this area
remember
too.
like I had this girl that I really, really, really liked. And me and her have been talking for like a year or whatever. Um, and um, she, so she liked this other guy. All right. So I liked her. She liked this other guy. And the funny thing is he liked her back. And I don't know if they didn't know that. I think they realized that, but the issue was they lived too far apart, so they didn't end up dating. So this was all online, you know. Just to, I mean, relate this further. So yeah, so she didn't like me. She liked this other guy who was like, he had an 8-pack. He literally did parkour, like literally did parkour. He not owned. He ran. I don't think he owned it, but he ran an exercising program in the gym. And like he worked in Texas. I mean, this guy's big. You know, everything's bigger in Texas, and this guy was big, but not big as in fat. He was just like really strong. I mean, it takes that to do parkour, right?
Yeah, well, you gotta
He
have
would
some
do.
strength there.
He would literally do one-hand push-ups upside down. Like, so his entire body is like he's doing a handstand.
Oh wow! So he's doing
But he's not
handstand
doing a
push-ups.
handstand on 2 hands. He's doing a handstand on 1 hand, and he's doing push-ups.
Wow!
Isn't that crazy?
He's
So this
probably a
guy's
good
ripped.
parkour guy.
Yes, a parkour guy. So he was the one that she liked. That made me so angry. And it wasn't right for me to be angry. Like, it's her thing to choose, right? It made me jealous because I wanted her to like me. Right? And I remember that feeling. I remember that eating me up inside. In fact, I remember I was like, fine, I'm gonna go get ripped. So I actually got a 6-pack, actually almost an 8-pack, but I didn't do it by exercising. Technically, what I did was 8-packs are pretty nice. So what I did, yeah, you're not so angry, just sad and depressed about it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I just remember being so just I wasn't really angry. I said I was angry. I wasn't really angry. I was just really like yeah, just really down about it. Just like really like, man. So what I did was I was driving to college every day, and it took 40 minutes to drive there and 40 minutes back. And so during the 40-minute ride, I would tense up my stomach the entire ride. It's kind of interesting because you don't realize how much you use your stomach muscles to balance until you start driving with your stomach tensed up. But yeah, I did that every day for 2 weeks. That's it, just 2 weeks, for 40 minutes there and 40 minutes back. So 80 minutes a day for 2 weeks, tensing my muscle abdomen. And by the end of it, I had a 6-pack. I was like, wow, that's pretty easy actually. Because I learned the fundamental of how muscles reform. If they're in their tensed state, they will stay in the tensed state. So I was purposefully tearing them and causing them to rebuild in that shape by keeping them in that shape. So anybody who wants to get muscles out there, that's how you do it. That's not how you get strong muscles. That's just how you get tone. That's how you get the muscle shape without actually getting any muscles. I didn't get any stronger from that. Just so you know. I just changed the shape of my muscles.
Look. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It was not I'm not recommending it by any means.
You're like permanently flexed.
Yes, precisely. So anyhow, this was an interesting situation because I was upset at myself mostly, because I knew that it wasn't right for me to want her to like me, because it's not my choice, right? She's gonna like who she likes. And I remember kind of like being really depressed about it, to a point where I'm like, I realized, like, when I would like I went to that moment where it's like, if I say I love you and you don't tell me you love me back, it's the most painful thing in the world. Like, that's weird, because when I say I love you, it should just be, hey, I love you. I'm not looking for any return on that. I just want to let you know that I love you, right? But then to realize that the only thing I wanted in return was for her to like me, I realized, like, man, that's no wonder I feel so upset and sick and whatever. I remember, like, I popped in a CD and I just listened to it, and it was some leadership TV or CD, just a guy talking about some stuff, and it had nothing to do with it. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing was, it brought me back to earth, kind of thing. Like, just listening to somebody talk about anything that was wisdom related brought me back to earth, and being like, Ryan, get real with yourself. Like, what are you doing? Like, you gotta make sure you feel loved by yourself before you go out and, like, asking other people to love you, or demanding it and being upset when they don't. Right. Being sick when you realize that they like someone else and it's not you, and it hurts inside. Now that hurts, I get it, and it's going to hurt no matter what. But I feel, but to be at that extent, I was upset at myself, really. And so I remember I just, like, eventually I just turned it off, just turned the CD off, sat there for about a minute. I got up, walked to the bathroom. The bathroom was not lit by any lights except for the, lights bleeding in from the hallway. And I just sat there and I stared at myself. And I was like, dude, what are you going to do about it? And I was like, okay, yeah, you got a point. What am I going to do about it? And I was like, yeah, come up with a plan and get yourself fixed, because we don't want you depressed. You know the two main things about being depressed. You're being self-centered. You're being, like, I'm just giving myself a talk, like a self-talk, right? Like, to, like, punish. Like, I was not even nice to myself. I was just like, dude, stop it. And so I came up with a plan. I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I understand the fundamentals of why I feel this way. So let's do the opposite of that in action form in real life. So it's like, if I'm feeling jealous, it's because I want something for myself. So how about we just give something to somebody without asking? So I went out, and the next thing after I stopped staring in the mirror, I walked out, walked into the kitchen, and did all the dishes for my mom. I did the dishes and I walked out. And then I sat in my room, and then I just kind of talked to myself, not being mean anymore, but just being like, yeah, there we go. That was a good idea. Now what else can we do? What actions can we take to help start moving me in the right direction to being not upset, right? When someone else is loved, or not upset when that love just isn't mine and I wanted that person, right? So yeah, I think if you can, now I'm not saying you're the same as me, Amira, but if you can maybe take that moment to examine yourself and go, okay, what am I feeling? And then once you realize what you're feeling, why you're feeling that way, like, sometimes it's like, what am I feeling? Okay, why am I feeling that? And then why am I feeling that way? Why is that the case? What leads me to that? You have to ask yourself why a couple of times sometimes to finally get to the root of the problem. But I encourage you to do that. And then when you discover, like, what that is, figure out, what can I do in the real world today to start acting out the opposite so that I can overcome this feeling. Because I'll tell you what, that feeling that I was talking about, that pain, that sorrow, that jealousy, that desire, all of it went away. I thought it was going to take like a month with me just doing all this stuff, right? But you know what? All of it went away within 2 days. It was like a snap of the finger. It was gone. All I had to do was start focusing on, like, okay, what task am I going to do for other people? What task am I going to do for them today? And then whenever I would converse with this other person, I would think, okay, make sure this isn't about me. Like I'm trying to make sure this is not about me anymore. Like, let's make it about the other person. Yeah, just having that self-talk really helped me, because I didn't just have a self-talk where I was like, you're bad. I had a self-talk where I was like, okay, now what's the plan? What's the plan of action? What's the call to action? What can I do? What can I start doing? Because that's what ultimately drives us forward. And I'll tell you, like, that is the best medicine. At least it was for me. And I hope that helps, because I know that your scenario is going to be different. Your situation might be different. Your feelings might be slightly different. But no matter what your scenario is, I think that if you can take some time to examine yourself, figure out what's the root of the problem, just plan out any step you can to take to attack it, just start doing that. I think that's one of the best ways to approach this problem. But I see there's a lot going on in chat, and Tara's apparently given some really good advice, so that's awesome. Thanks, Tara. But yeah, I'm gonna give it over to Joe. See what he's got to say.
Well, Amira, first of all, my heart goes out to you. I remember dealing with this type of a situation before too. This was a while ago because I've been married for a while. And so this was kind of a distant thing. However, there have been times, even in my marriage, where I've been jealous. It's not been of seeing my wife with another guy, but seeing her doing things, like other than being focused on me or focused on what's best for us as a family or whatever, right? So it's like, so there are times when I still have that little tinge of jealousy in my relationship with my wife. However, in this particular instance, the example that relates more to your situation was with a previous girlfriend who then ended up like we had been together, broken up. It was kind of rocky for a little while. It was my first serious relationship, right? We'd been together for a few years, and then we were it was kind of fading out, and so we were kind of breaking up and getting back together and having little stupid fights and getting back together. It was just kind of crazy. And then it was kind of like a long drawn out final breakup. And then it wasn't like not long at all after we broke up, I found out she was now with one of my friends. He used to be one of my friends anyway. And I was like, whoa, that's very interesting. And I ended up, it wasn't really real to me. I was just kind of hearing the rumors, I guess. Like, oh, she's with this guy and all that kind of stuff. And I was kind of hearing the rumors and everything. And then on a New Year's Eve, we had our own New Year's Eve thing at the house I was living in. I was living in a house with like 3 other guys. We were sharing a house. We were all in college. And my ex-girlfriend, she was sharing an apartment across town. And they had their own New Year's get together, whatever. And I remember I was really, really, really close friends. I had been since a little kid. I'd been really close friends with my ex-girlfriend's roommate's boyfriend. Right. So I knew him very well. And I remember calling him up and just being like, hey, so what's going on with my ex-girlfriend and this guy, were they together tonight? Oh yeah, they were here. And he told it to me straight. He's like, yep, they're together, man. They're involved. They are romantic. Amorous, I guess, like when the ball drops. Uh-huh. So at any rate, at that moment, it was real. I remember this New Year's must have been, I don't know, it's in the late 90s. We were probably partying like it was 1999, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure you were. It probably was that time.
Because exactly. So at any rate, but this was the thing. So that was when this became real. I had talked to this person who was a long trusted friend of mine, and he had the personality. He's just like, hey, I love you, and I'm going to be honest with you, right? And so he's just that kind of guy. And he told me, he was like, yep, they're together. I don't know what else to tell you. You could tell he felt bad for me because he knew I was hurting,
Mhm.
right? And he cared, but he's not going to lie to me. He's not
Right.
going to be like, oh, yeah, it's not. So he didn't sugarcoat it at all. He just was straightforward, but he was caring and loving at the same time. And I remember at that moment when it became real, my heart sank. And it was like, oh my gosh, now I'm in this situation, right? And I tell you, it's interesting how these things work because from my experience, it it really hurt, right? And so I can imagine the pain you must be feeling, Amira, because I went through that pain too. And it was probably similar. It might not have been as deep, it might not have been as hard. And in your uh in your situation, you're still friends with this girl. So that adds a whole new level. In my particular situation, we were not going to be friends anymore at all. Like it was done like dinner, right? It's like there wasn't going to be any communication. It was going to be clean break, gone, right? And so I didn't have that dimension to deal with. I feel like for me, it was a little easier to deal with the clean break like that, where it was over and therefore done. However, I can see now later that there probably would have been more long-term value had I been able to at least salvage a friendship out of the deal. Right. At any rate, we make decisions and we look back and we're like, I could have done things better. I could have done things different. There's always going to be something like that. But here's what happened. After that moment, and after that time of, being with her and feeling absolutely brokenhearted, I wrote some of the best songs I have written in my life. That was a time of great creative energy. And it was weird. Like I it was almost like my whole songwriting ability hit a new level. Like I had been writing songs for years before that. Right? I'd been writing a bunch of songs, and they'd always been like, hey, these are good songs, my band would play them and everything like that. But then I started writing at a whole new level this time. I started writing with more intricate detail. I started writing with more unique chord progressions. I started writing with different rhythm, like it just expanded in this time period. So when we're struck by an emotional storm, that's when our creativity really has a chance to shine. And I always have to remind myself of this because when I'm in the middle of the painful moment, it hurts so bad and the pain is so deep and it's so hard. But there's always, like with bad comes good, like as I talked about that the priest I'd heard the homily from, where he was like, all problems are pregnant with
That's
opportunity.
right.
And I was like, whoa. But that's so true. And in this case too, like I've noticed for me now, I don't know if this is the same for you, but when I go through emotional turmoil, my creative energy spikes. It goes high. And that happened also when at a time we were going through some financial difficulties and we were losing our townhouse we were living in. Same thing happened. All that emotional trauma and stress that was going on, and my creativity just hit a high level during that time. And it was that was the first project that Ryan and I ever worked on
Yeah,
together
I remember that.
when that was happening. And I remember, man, there's a guitar solo in that project that anytime I hear it, I start crying because I remember weeping while I recorded that solo. And I was like, and because it was when it finally became real to me that we were losing our house. and we were gonna have to figure out how to move. And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. But we got this project, we got to get it done. And so I just sat down there with my guitar, and it was the middle of the night, and everybody else was asleep, and it was silent because I had an electric guitar, but it was plugged directly into my computer, so there's no amp or anything. It was quiet, but in my headphones it was loud. And I just remember crying and crying and crying and playing this guitar solo. And like, now anytime I hear it, I can't help but relive that emotion a little bit. And it's pretty incredible. I'm starting to see, I'm looking at some of the chat here. I mean, I just see your last post. I don't think anybody could be into me. I'm literally the most undesirable person alive. I understand where those feelings come from. It sounds a bit like despair talking. And I've been there too. And that type of a feeling, logically, we know deep down that it's not true logically, but our emotions take us to that place. And it's so hard. And I understand. But one thing to remember, like Ryan was just saying, a lot of times when we think we love someone, it's because we want them to love us. We want that feeling from them. When real love is the desire for someone's greatest good. And it becomes a selfless thing. Maybe not selfless. What do you say? It's charitable, not selfless, but charitable, right? And so, Amira, I just want to empathize a bit and be like, I understand where you're at, because I know I've said those same things before. And as time passes, you start to have some more experiences. Ryan's advice is some of the greatest advice ever. If you can do something for someone, even something simple, like when he did the dishes for his mom, something simple, do something for someone and don't expect anything in return. Just do it for them because you want to do something for somebody else. That goes a long way into fixing where you're at mentally, because it takes your focus off your problems, for one. It takes your focus off yourself, for number two. And so it starts to help you understand. And then another thing is too, you're adding value to the world. And so you start to see yourself as something that can create value. You're an entity that can create value. And really, you are infinitely valuable simply because you're a human being. And all of us have infinite dignity. And you are no exception to that rule at all. And so if you can do that, they say the same thing financially. Like if you're feeling financial stress, give some money away. And it seems so backwards because you're like, but I'm feeling financial stress. Then I'm going to have less money. So how am I going to not be stressed? But the point is, you give the money away to detach yourself from the money. Like that's the point. The point is to rid yourself of some of it. So then you start to put it in its proper perspective, right? Same goes with a romantic relationship. Romance is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And when we feel hurt by romance, it's extremely painful. It's a very powerful emotion in our lives. But that power can be used for good. So I would encourage you in this situation, do what Ryan was saying, find something you can do for somebody. And then also turn on those creative juices, whatever your creative outlet is, whether it's music or writing or art or anything. I mean, you can be creative in anything. Mechanics. You know, I know people who are creative with electronics, you know, putting together circuit board type stuff and like it's crazy. You know, like, but whatever you can do that's creative, find some immersion in that. And what happens, what you'll find is you will do some of the greatest work because that emotion that's churning inside of you can drive creativity like nothing else I've experienced in my life. So I hope some of that's helpful. Ryan, did you have anything?
Sure. I guess, yeah, I mean, if you're feeling, depressed and so on and so forth, you said, I don't think, like Joe already read this, but you said, I don't think anybody could be into me. I'm literally the most undesirable person alive. And just as Joe said, of course, that's not logically true. You don't know every human being and what makes the most desirable or undesirable. But I can tell you this. If that's the way you think it is, true or not, if that's the way you think it is, change it. Now, you might think it's not up to you, but it is. You know what makes attractive people attractive? Most of the time, it's not how they look. Most of the time, it's how they think of themselves. It's what they act like. If you have somebody who has like a good sense of who they are, they feel valuable, but they're not focused on themselves, they're focused on everybody else in the room. They're not shy, they're not worried about what people think. They're just, hey, I'm here and I want to help. I want to be helping you guys around, right? Those people, we generally like them. Right? Those people, we just like them, don't we? Like, you don't just like, man, I don't like that guy. He's nice. If anyone says they don't like somebody because he's nice, they've got their own issues. That's because you're not nice enough. There's no such thing as, oh, you're too nice. No, it's just like that your expectations are too low. Right? But anyways, my point is, if you think that you're not desirable, then become what you think is desirable. Because that's entirely up to you. Unfortunately, and I know I'm being maybe like a little forward rather than, I'm being a little blunt with it, but it's up to you. You get to pick who you are by how you act. You get to pick who you are by the things you choose to think about, the thoughts you choose to let linger and think about and just hold tight to, right? You get to choose who you get to be based on what you do. And if you think you are undesirable, that means you don't like yourself. You don't like the way that you are. That's okay. That's okay, Mira. Like literally, I've been there. Joe's been there. A lot of us have been there. You know how we stopped being there? It's going to be the same way that you stop. And it's annoying, but it's basically we choose. We don't want to be there anymore. We look at ourselves and we're like, wow, I am entirely undesirable. How do I fix that? Well, I do these things instead of these things. So you start doing these things instead of these things, and you start to notice, hey, I like myself better as I do these things more. Now, Amira, I know you have good habits. I'm not saying that all your habits are bad and that's why you don't like yourself. I know you have good habits. I know you're talented. I know that you spend time doing things that are good for you. Right? You've talked to us about in the chat before. So I think if you don't like yourself still, right? Even though you do good things, there may be bad things that you're doing that you don't like. Work on stopping those. And some of those bad things might just be like, I'm not very nice to myself. I don't say good things about myself. It could just be that. If that's it, wow, that'd be wonderful, because that's actually not like the mountain. That's not like a giant list of things that you have to start doing, because you already have some good habits. So you just got to keep on doing those, right? But so instead of feeling like, now I think that we kind of live in a society that tends to think that we are the way we are and we can't change it. Like there's often that, like, this is who I am. I am just an anxious person. That's who I was born as, and there's nothing I can do about it. There are some degrees of that, but there's nothing to the point where it inhibits you from liking yourself, right? You can choose to like yourself or not. That's a perception thing. And there's no perception that's ingrained into humanity. We all actually adapt it through experience or through other people's thoughts and perceptions. I mean, like the fear of spiders, it's actually not hereditary. Or sorry, it's not hereditary. It's programmed into your mind through how other people have reacted to spiders. Or the first time you saw it, you didn't know what it was and it freaked you out because you're like, that's weird looking. But you realize that that's perception. You actually go up to the spider, you learn about it, you understand it, you realize, okay, I don't have to be afraid of that. I'm literally 10,000 times its size. And most of them aren't poisonous, and this one isn't. Because I looked it up. So, you know, there's so much to perception. Your whole world can change for you on the flip of a dime, all on perception. You can go, I love life or I hate life. Right? I love peanuts. I hate peanuts. Right? I hate the way they look. I hate the way that people use them in their peanut butter. I don't like peanuts. The taste is fine. That's not the issue. I just don't like peanuts because they are weird. I don't like the way that they feel on the outside where the shell is on them or the shell is off. I don't like that they're oily. Like, it's like, dude.
Why you sound like your brother when you say that?
Yeah, I know. Like, they're peanuts, right? It's all a matter of perception. It's like, I don't like walls that have texture on them. I want them to be perfectly flat. And if they've got a texture, I just freak out. It's like, okay, why? You know? Okay, can you change that? Because there's no reason to live your life freaking out about walls that have texture. Like, just that's not healthy for you. That's not good for you. And that's the same way about how we look at ourselves or how we look at the world around us. You know, I've said it in the past. I don't think I've said it in a really long time, but how you feel about the world is how you're going to feel living inside of it. So if you think the world is crappy, you're going to feel like crap. If you think the world is stupid, you're going to feel stupid. Even if you're like, I'm the smartest person alive. It's really a wall that you put up because you're afraid of being stupid. You know? I've had that wall before. I was afraid of being dumb. I thought everyone else was stupid. And I was like so afraid of being dumb that I would do all sorts of weird stuff. I would pretend I knew things that I didn't know, like just to make sure no one thought I didn't know. I would refuse to raise my hand in class because I wanted to make sure nobody thought I had questions. Like I just understood it automatically. Don't even tell me, you know. I would flunk tests just because I was too afraid to say that, like, hey, I didn't understand this. Like, well, not really flunk. I aced most of my tests, but there were some that I did terrible on. There were some. Like I would, instead of like, if we had homework and I didn't have any to turn in, I would find ways to make sure no one knew that I didn't turn my homework in. Or find way, I would like basically not walk up so that nobody saw my test, like, or my homework not filled out all the way and things like that. Right? I pretended to be smart, right? I did all these crazy things just because I wanted people to look at me like I was smart, all because I just didn't want people to think I was stupid. all because my perception about reality was off. I thought it mattered, but it didn't. It doesn't matter because we all don't know everything. That's normal. Like that was my perception was we are all supposed to be on top of everything and know everything or we're dumb. And that was wrong. That is not the right perception. It was a harmful perception, right? And the perception that everybody else was stupid because they all had to ask questions and things. That was wrong, right? Perception is a life changer, but perception can change. Like I said, nothing necessarily about us when it comes to our mind is settled. We have the ability to make choices and make changes until the day we die. And that day does not have to be anytime soon. The later, the better. So you've got plenty of life to live to not worry about how you feel about yourself right now, today. Because at some point down the road, your perception is going to change on life. And you're going to be glad it did. And you're going to be glad you didn't kill yourself, right? There's life. If you talk to someone who's like a negative Nancy, they will always find things to complain about. Always. No matter how great their day is, no matter what you do, like you can do everything you thought was right. They'll find something because that's what their focus is on. Their focus is always on finding how bad the situation is and complaining about it. That's their whole deal with life. Like if you've met some people like that, you know what I'm talking about.
I've been that guy before, actually.
Yeah, there you go. And
I've been a guy named Nancy.
Right. And it's funny because those people, like Joe, for example, they're not like that forever. That's just one thing that their mind was focused on. It's a perception thing. Life is terrible. That's a perception. But now Joe is shifted. You know, there's people in the opposite category. Life is awesome. I don't care what happens. You could throw all the worst stuff at me in a day and I don't even notice any of it because my mind is focused on, hey, where are we going? This is going to be great. This is going to be an awesome ride. I just stepped in poop. Sweet. You know what? Let's just wipe it off. All right, sweet. Let's go. I get to tell that story when I get home. It's going to be hilarious. By the way, when I walked into work, just before I walked into work today, I stepped in a pile of crop crap. Yeah, I was on the sidewalk. Did you guys see it? If you now everybody walks past it, they can see my footprint right in it. It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah. And look at the bottom of my shoe. Look at all that.
Look at the bottom of my shoe. No, I cleaned it off. Don't worry. That's a completely different attitude, is it not? Someone could do the same thing and be like, oh, this is the worst day ever, you know? I walked in, I'm not even to work yet. I'm walking to work. Now I've got poop on my shoe. I have to clean it off. It stinks. I'm going to stink all day long and everyone's going to be smelling me and they're going to be complaining. And then I have to explain to everybody, it's going to be so annoying.
It's not me. It's the dog.
Yeah. And so that's completely different. Right. And it's funny because I've literally been both sides of that at different parts of my life. And my whole point is, don't think your life is settled. This isn't it. There's so much more and it's not bad. But how you perceive it does decide whether it's good or bad for you. They say opinions, people can have opinions, but opinions can be wrong. Because they can be wrong for you. They could be bad for you. Because your opinion about a situation might not be fact, right? It can't be wrong or right, but it certainly can be unhealthy. It can be, it could tear you down. It can, make your day feel bad when it doesn't have to. So, I don't know. My whole point is, Amira, you've got a lot going for you. You're amazing. You're talented. You do a lot of really good things already. You have good advice that you've shared in this chat before. You have a good, healthy heart. And I don't mean physically. I don't know about that. But I mean, you are kind. And so you wouldn't give up on us. Don't give up on yourself. You are just as completely capable of becoming loved by you as you love anybody else in the world. You have great love and compassion for others, at least for some that you see, especially. And that love, you could have it for yourself, but it's not necessarily going to happen tomorrow. But you got to start somewhere. So, anyways.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks, Ryan. That's awesome. I wanted to say one thing, Amira, that right now, while you're feeling this pain, while you're experiencing this emotional turmoil, this is the perfect time to, in your heart, forgive the hurt that you're experiencing from this person. Forgive this person for hurting you right now while you're experiencing it. Because what happens is, if we don't, we build up the wall, right? We build up the wall around our hearts. We become less of ourselves. We can't express ourselves fully in the world, right? Because we're building this wall up to protect ourselves. But if we forgive while we experience the pain, that wall doesn't get built, and we can heal that much faster. If we don't, we build the wall, then we have to go back and kind of relive the pain again to forgive and then go through it again. So like right now is the perfect time to move towards forgiving this person. Now, you don't have to say it to their face. You just, in your heart, forgive them. And that will bring about so much healing. And honestly, we're just up here offering some suggestions. Take what you want. But understand one thing that's absolutely true, and that is that we love you. We love seeing you here. We love seeing your name pop up in the chat. We love, like when you offer advice, like Ryan was just saying, we love seeing you here. So please continue coming back. If this challenge progresses, we'd love to hear more about it. We'd love to see if there's any other ways we can help, for sure. But also we'd love to just see you here because we love you.
Yeah.
So no matter what happens, no matter what you take from this, from what Ryan said or what I said, understand one thing deep down is that you are accepted here. You are safe here. And nothing that you do or feel is going to affect the way we feel about you, because we love you.
Amir says, yeah, and that's so true, by the way. Yeah, nothing you say or do will ever stop us from loving you. It's just the way it is. You're stuck with it. You're stuck with it. Amir says, forgive her for what? She's never done anything wrong. Sorry, she's never done anything malicious.
Sure. The thing is when we handle that jealousy in our hearts, even though the other person may not have cognitively done something to offend us, we still are hurt by something they did. Right? Like in this situation, it sounds to me, if I'm not mistaken, you are hurt by the fact that she's seeing somebody else. So even though it's not a real offense, in your heart perceives it as an offense because it hurts you, right? And so the idea then is, in your heart, forgive that offense.
Yeah, it's especially hopefully easy in the sense like where you just go, well, she didn't mean to hurt me. And then that's a form of forgiveness. Like that you can at that point go, well, she never meant me any harm. I can, so she's not in any, like, of course I wouldn't hold it against her. Right. And I think another step of that is to then forgive yourself. Because sometimes when we do that, we're like, well, I put myself into that position for getting jealous. And now I'm upset at myself. What do I do? And I think one of the best things you can do again is enter into that situation where you're just like, I didn't mean to hurt myself. I didn't want to get hurt. It just kind of happened. And that happens sometimes in life. It happens a lot in life, where we just get hurt and it's like, So don't hold it against yourself. Don't hold it against yourself at all, because it's good. It can be healthy to be jealous sometimes, even if it hurts. So yeah. I don't think it's possible for me to even at her. Perfect. It's good.
Yep. So it sounds like you turn the guns on yourself. I understand because I do the same thing. I blame myself for most things, you know. And so then I have to learn how to forgive myself. That's sometimes the hardest thing to do, just forgive yourself. And sometimes you have to repent of whatever you think you're doing wrong too. Yeah, as a man, I really messed up. I'm gonna try not to do that again. I'm really sorry I did that. Now, all this is an inner dialogue. This is all inside my head, right? I was like, okay, I'm really sorry I did that because that was the wrong thing to do. I'm so sorry that I did that. And then I can forgive myself because I've repented. It's this weird, like, it's like there's two people inside my head back and forth.
Yeah, well, you do have a relationship with yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
exactly.
you're a human
Yes.
being.
Thank you, Ryan. You made me sound sane again. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to take whatever you say and make it sound like it might be the right thing.
Right.
Because wait, what do you call that? I never took it. In school they have this where it's like debate,
Oh
but it's
yeah.
not called debate, right?
Yeah.
Um,
There were debate teams sometimes at school.
yeah, there's a field of practice where you take something and you run with it, and you make it try to sound like it's the right thing. Yeah, yeah, it's you give speeches and it's a debate platform, but I forget what it's called. There's a specific term for it. If I said it, everyone would go, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." I'm sure, but right now it's not coming to me. Regardless, um,
Pugilism.
that almost sounds like feudalism.
That's boxing actually.
I'd never heard of it before.
So
Akil.
Akil, you made it. We're just ending, but hey, welcome.
Yeah, Akil. Hey, buddy. We had stuff for you, but I'm glad we got to just spend some time with Miras because that's a good one to handle. And
Yep.
I hope, Amira, I sincerely hope from the bottom of my heart that it helps because we just want you to have a beautiful day, to have a beautiful life, for you to smile. We just seriously we desire it. We love you, and we just really, really want to see you happy. Our advice might not be the advice that helps, but even if it's not, know that we love you and we really just like want the best for you. Um, and if you can, try to give one of our ideas a shot and see what happens. It probably won't work, but it might. And it's better to try than to dismiss it, right? Because then we at least figure out, okay, that wasn't the issue. Move on to the next. All right, is this the issue? All right, that didn't work either, so that's not the issue. Let's look at somewhere else. Because that's kind of how you have to solve things sometimes, you know. And so that might be good. A good practice. Just try one thing, try another thing. If it's not working, write it down. Be like, this did not work. Let's try the next thing.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Amira, and hopefully this is helpful. Yeah, princess is right. It'll be ending soon. We gotta close it down. Sorry we started so late, guys. It's like I said, holiday, everything was kind of up in the air, had family stuff going on today, so it was one of those things. So at any rate, but we will be back on Wednesday for Don't Worry Wednesday, and we'll probably have the YouTube arranged right, so when you go to it, it'll actually say the right show on there. And then so we'll get it all figured out. It'll be great. But anyway, thank you guys so much for being here, and we just love seeing you guys. We love spending time with you guys. We appreciate all of you here in the chat. We appreciate all of you that are lurking. Thank you, Amira, for the great topic, and also thanks Jesse and Princess for keeping us on track and being here with us. So guys are amazing.
Yeah, you guys are all amazing.
And come back tomorrow morning. I'll be back here in a little over 7 hours. Double Cup of Joe show starts at 7 a.m. Joe and I will be here, and I still think even though it's late, I'll still look more awake than Joe.
That's probably true.
One of the Joes will look more awake than the other.
Yeah, That it might be Joe. We'll find out.
Joe. It might be. So,
all right.
At any rate, thank you guys so much for being here. We love you. We're so glad you're here, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Bye-bye, guys.
Take care.